Hello you fantastic people and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 video. Hope you guys are all doing well. In this one I have my first Halloween event flak build. This one is using the Peregrine mod from DLC 4, so it is a DLC dependent build unfortunately. Don't stress if you don't have DLC. The next build that's coming out will be a full-fledged just base game and Terra gear anoints. This one's a little bit more simple though. It is using the Ghast coal, amazing grenade by the way, with the Peregrine class mod. So it's pretty much my Peregrine rack attack build that I made probably like 3 weeks ago-ish now, with the awesome Ghast coal level 65 build. This also doesn't require the super god roll Vindicator one. It is using a roided Ghast coal. You can also use honestly any level of them. It's just the higher one you have up, it's going to do more damage. Pretty much how it works. But yeah, I'm going to start showing some clips on screen so you guys can see how much damage this new grenade does in the Peregrine flak class mod build. It is a ton of fun to use. It's really good at all mobbing situations. Bossing situations, if you're just trying to use the rack attack with the grenade combo, it's really going to be the most efficient against any armored enemies, because of course the Ghast coal is a corrosive grenade. So Wotan gets absolutely wrecked by it. Genevieve, Agonizer, that guy from DLC 3 that I can't remember his name, but I'll have them on clips, destroys all of those guys. But mobbing is really where it's at. In any base game mobbing situation, they don't stand a chance. In the takedowns, it is a ton of fun. Like I said, Wotan, I'm pretty sure I took out Kraken in 2 single grenades. I probably could do it in 1, I just couldn't bother standing there waiting for all the skulls to actually activate and destroy him. But you can do it super efficient with this grenade. And my favorite part about it, if you guys watched yesterday's video that I posted the top 5 best farms for the new Halloween event, weapons, Terra anoints, all that good stuff. Scrap Trap Prime is by far the best farm for it. It's the most efficient. It's ridiculous. This build is the best build you could possibly run in that area. I've ran so many builds through this area over the different level caps for the XP farm videos, etc. And this one is by far the most efficient. Absolutely destroys the Scrap Trap nest using a combination, of course, the Ghast coal itself does a ton of damage, but also using Nova Shields with the rack attack. You can blow up multiple at the same time. Then the grenades pick up the scraps, legitimately, the scraps left behind, plus the Nova and the Ghasts that are homing, destroy any ghosts that you spawn from the Scrap Trap nest. Then Scrap Trap Prime, typically a super tanky health-wise boss, gets absolutely destroyed because those Ghast coals are so efficient against destroying the armored enemies. So essentially, if you guys want to build to get a ton of Halloween event weapons and Terra anointed gear, this is the one you guys want to rock. And just before we get too far in the video, if you guys do find this one helpful or enjoyable whatsoever, don't forget to smash subscribe down below. I usually leave these things for the end of the video, but I actually found out this month 90% of people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you guys do find these videos helpful or enjoyable, it helped me out a ton if you guys could smash that subscribe button. It is totally free and does amazing things for the channel. But yeah, hopefully those clips were doing the build justice on screen. Like I said, it was a ton of fun finishing this one up today, running it through the takedowns, doing the Scrap Trap Prime nest probably like 100 times. Way too many times, but it is a ton of fun with this build. Let's get into the weapons though. I'm not going to spend too much time on these. They're pretty much the same weapons you can use in most of my builds. Essentially, if they're viable weapons on Mayhem 10, flak is just going to amp their damage. You just do a ton of damage and a ton of crit damage with flak. There's no real gimmicks around his weapons you use. Pretty much pick anyone you like using and it'll work. I was mostly just rocking the light shows and the monarchs today. Mostly light shows just for being agile, super fast fire rate, multi-pallet, just getting action skill back as quickly as possible, because all I really wanted to do was spam rack attack as much as possible and I wasn't really worried too much about the weapons. But yeah, viable weapons, light show, monarch. The Maggie just got buffed. The Chaos is amazing. Convergence. The Reflux is really good, particularly if you want to use that one in the Scrap Trap Prime nest thingabobbo. The Fearmonger is pretty damn good. Haven't got myself any good rolls yet, but you can use those if you want. They go up to a ×8 pellet count. The Hellwalker as well, absolutely amazing weapon, particularly with flak. Shreds all the things. You guys will already know that one though. As for shields, this is probably the most shield options you could have in any build, to be honest. With rack attack flak at the moment, there are so many good ones. Novas with action skill start anoints are so damn good right now. The Frozen Heart is my particular favorite. 40,000 damage on it Nova, and you can just hit that every single time you spam rack attack. It's amazing. You can also get the same thing with a plus ultra shield from DLC 4. You can get Novas on there. Like you can see, it's less than half the Nova, but you do also get a 25% chance to absorb bullets as ammo and increase your action skill cooldown by 30%. So that's more rack attack and it doubles your health as well. So you're getting a lot more survivability out of that one. You can also use a stopgap with action skill start, means practically immortality as Flak, which is kind of amazing. You spam that every 5 seconds and you are immune for the next 5 seconds to all damage, which is awesome. You can also use a frozen snowshoe, pretty much identical to a frozen heart, high capacity, less Nova damage, but it works all the same. If you can't get a frozen heart, try and go for a frozen snowshoe. Of course, if you guys don't have the time to farm for all of those amazing Nova shields with the good annoyance, or if you just want to start off shield, Transformer is a great option if you get any ASC elemental types from like vending machines. Pretty simple to get. Chuck on Pool Party, instant super survivability Flak out of that trick. Also going to include the Scream of Terror. That one is the new Halloween event shield. It doesn't come with anointments like the Ghast Coal, unfortunately. If it ever does change, the Scream of Terror is actually a much higher Nova burst than the Frozen Heart. If they ever decide to put annoyance on there, get action skill start on that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Fingers crossed they do. I don't expect they're going to, but if they do, definitely get that one with action skill start. And now for the main attraction, the Ghast Coal. This thing is amazing. I believe it comes in 4 different variants. You get the regular Ghast Coal. I believe there's a cloning Ghast Coal, a roided, and then a Vindicator. The Vindicator being the strongest one, but it's going to be super, super rare. So I decided to stick with the roided to show you how much damage it actually does, and it's a little more easy to obtain if you don't have a ton of time in the game. It does so much damage, it's ridiculous. Honestly, you can use just the regular Ghast Coal and it'll work very, very well, just not quite as efficient. Essentially, the roided Ghast Coal does 106,000 damage, and essentially when you hit the original enemy, it will leave a puddle on the ground of corrosive damage, doing a ton of damage over time. Plus, a ton of skulls will spawn out and then home in on the nearby enemies. If you're getting one enemy, every single enemy, like melee 1 dudes, mechs, all that stuff, will get one shot by one rack attack spam, aka one roided Ghast Coal. It's a ton of fun to use. The only time you won't like one-shot one of those dudes is if some of the skulls decide to go to nearby enemies, which you sometimes can honestly clear like 3 to 4 from one of those, depending on what kind of enemies you are versing, which is awesome for room clearing, melee 1 takedown, getting big clumps together, and just destroying all the things. It's really, really awesome. Can't wait to get the Vindicator Ghast Coal. Like I said, once I do get one, it will be updated in the game save. I'll just let you guys know via the pinned top comment. And yeah, like always, check the description. I always have a save file for all my builds down there, or you can check them out. I have them in my Discord as well. Other options, by the way, you can use this build before you get a Ghast Coal or a roided Ghast Coal. Get some purple grenades like these two are great options. A Lightspeed grenade, by the way, was the original grenade I had in this build and still does a ton of damage. You can even get annoyance on Grenade Throne. It will be the ideal one if you want to farm the Guardian takedown a bajillion times until you get it. It is well worth it. It does a ton of damage, but you're more likely to down yourself if you're using this, because there's just so many grenades everywhere from this thing. So I'd recommend using the stopgap if you're going to rock the Lightspeed. And for the class mod, the Peregrine, like I said, DLC 4 is an amazing class mod. Difficult to acquire, so I definitely don't have any god rolls in here whatsoever, which means you guys will be able to use this build without any crazy rolls. This one's pretty much the best one I have. Grenade damage and any kind of weapon damage is going to help you out a ton. I have a few in here for different situations. For example, Dar weapons. We have Jacob's weapons. That's really good for the Hellwalker. And we also have pistols with splash damage. So I kind of swap between these two if I'm going to be honest. The ideal one you want is going to have grenade damage, maybe splash, and then just general weapon damage. And try and get as many points into Eager to Impress or primarily Interplanetary Stalker for a ton of damage. As for artifact, the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge is the one I rock because I'm using Lightspeeds, Hellwalkers, Monarchs, all that good stuff. Don't stress if you don't have DLC 2 though. I know a lot of people don't have that one, unfortunately. I would recommend using a Snowdrift Auto Idle if you're lacking on the health, or use a Snowdrift Victory Rush for extra damage. That's 2 really good artifacts from base game. Plus, I always keep a cut purse launch pad for ammo in the Guardian takedown. As for Mayhem Modifiers, these things are an absolute nightmare. I waste so much time per build rolling these ones. If you guys want to go for the ideal ones, I would recommend More Than Okay Boomer, like I managed to get. That is going to help your grenade damage by 25%. Healy Avenger is the perfect one for medium modifiers. Laser Fire, trash, don't use that, it's really bad. Swap that one out if you can for Drone Ranger. Both Healy Avenger and Drone Ranger are just like really neutral, don't destroy anything essentially modifiers. And then for the very hard one, I would recommend Buddy System or something you can avoid, like Post-Mortem I personally don't like. If you're fine with that one and have a good weapon, just get rid of those really quick. I'd recommend that. I was using Buddy System because the Nova burst on like Frozen Hearts, Nova Burners, all that good stuff destroys buddy systems without actually having to shoot them. So that's the reason why I was using those. But yeah, just try and find modifiers that aren't gonna destroy the build. Not gonna reduce your crit damage by a ton, not going to make them immune to a particular kind of element, not set the ground literally on fire because you stood there too long. Just try and find as neutral as possible. Now for the good stuff, the skill tree, I'm going to run through this one pretty briefly for you guys. We did switch it up a little bit from the last time I made this build because I just wanted to kind of make it as usable for any situation, any weapons, all that good stuff, rather than just focusing straight on the grenade, because I feel like this one does enough damage you really don't have to focus too hard on it. Starting with the red tree, 3 points and leave no trace. Hitting crit hits puts bullets back in the mag is always amazing for flak, particularly with things like the Hellwalker. Interplanetary Stalker, really good kill skill, tons of damage out of that one. Hunter's Eye, only put 4 points into this because I wanted to prioritize Grim Harvest later in the skill tree. 3 points in head count is an absolute must have for rack attack. You want to be having rack attack cooldown as quickly as possible with this build because you want to spam that for your ability to use gas calls, for survivability, using your novas, all that good stuff. So put 3 points in there. We didn't put any points in Ambush Predator. We do have 3 points from our class mod. That essentially gets us critical hit damage whenever enemies are far enough away. So if you're using rack attacks at a distance, you're going to get a ton of damage out of that. But if you're kind of like me and get up in everybody's face, that's not going to be that efficient, unfortunately. Big game, 3 points in there is boosting all your hunt skills. For example, Interplanetary Stalker, Furious Attack, as well as Frenzy, all going to get buffed by that. As well as Most Dangerous Game, 3 points in there as well. Kill skill, that gets you a ton of damage. Really, really good. 1 point in Galactic Shadow, cheap 15% critical hit damage. 3 points in Grim Harvest. Honestly, you can put more points in there if you would like to, but this is probably the best layout for red tree damage wise, without taking anything from the rest of the trees, because you just don't get too much damage out of Grim Harvest, but it does help your rack attack damage. So if you just want racks to do a ton of damage and not yourself as much, maybe put more points in Grim Harvest. I put a point in Megavore, best capstone that flak has. 20% chance to hit a critical hit anywhere on the body is really, really good for your damage, and getting things like leave no trace and head count back as quickly as possible. As for blue tree, 3 points in Persistent Hunter for the gun damage. Action skill duration means nothing for rack attack, you're just trying to get down the tree, honestly. 2 points of Ferocity, 20% pet damage, like I said, we're just trying to get to Frenzy. 5 points in there means 40% extra damage at maximum stacks of Frenzy. Essentially, whenever Flak's pet deals damage, you get a stack of Frenzy. When you put 1 point, at least in He Bites, essentially whenever pet gets hit by an enemy, it reflects bullets back at enemies. That's a lot in Guardian takedowns, mobbing situations, anything like that this build is going to be used for. That stacks pretty much instantly. It keeps it stacked all the damn time, so you get a ton of extra damage. That is pretty much stronger than most of the capstones that we have, and there's a second row ability, so definitely put 5 points in there. As for Green Tree, 5 points in Furious Attack, essentially shooting things means more damage. 5 points in Overclock, increased fire rate means more damage per second, and just spraying like mad is what I enjoy doing. Put 5 points in Eager to Impress. We have an extra one from our class mod. Essentially, getting kills reduces your action skill cooldown rate, and like I said, spamming rack attacks is ideal for this build for damage, survivability, novas, using more gas calls, all that good stuff. So definitely put 5 in there. 3 points in Turn Tail and Run. Standing still essentially means increased fire rate and damage, and then running means damage reduction and health regen. 1 point in Lick the Wounds, pretty much essential for any flak build because we go down from stupid things like barrels and random M10 rocket launches and just stupid stuff. So definitely put a point in Lick the Wounds. Pet will be able to pick you up in those situations. Fast and the Furious, essentially gun damage, pet damage, and movement speed whilst above half health. That's pretty regularly with this build. Then we actually put 3 points into Rage and Recover. You can honestly put these ones wherever you want. I wouldn't put them in Hidden Machine, that's useless for rack attack builds, but if you want to share health regen with pet, you can do that. If you for some reason use attack commands, you can do that, or you can just put it in for max health and a little bit less health regen in self-repairing system. I personally prefer Rage and Recover for getting kills. You essentially get a stronger amount of health regen. That gets you down to the power inside. Essentially, whenever you start your action skill, which is all the damn time with a rack attack, you get an extra 25% damage for 15 seconds. If you're at full health at the time, you actually get 50% increased damage for 15 seconds. And because we're spamming rack attack pretty much every 5 seconds, that's always up, and there's a ton of extra damage for this build. As for pet choice, we always use Spider Ant Scorcher for this build for the elemental damage, because the Ghast Coal is of course a elemental grenade and does a ton more damage with that extra 10%. You also get some health regen out of that as well. If you guys are just doing bossing with this build, I would switch to the Gunslinger Jabber. It actually stacks Frenzy faster and you'll get more damage out of it that way. The Great Horn Skag is also a good option. You get more damage out of it generally for Flak himself, but if you're trying to use Ghast Calls to get the most damage out of those, elemental damage by 10% is better than just the 5% damage you're going to get out of the Great Horn Skag. But if you want to focus more on Flak rather than the Ghast Call damage, probably Great Horn Skag is the way to go. But yeah, that is everything I have for the level 65 and Mayhem 10 Peregrine Flak build for the Halloween event using the Ghast Call. This thing is a ton of fun. I really hope you guys do enjoy the build. If you did find this video helpful or enjoyable, don't forget to smash subscribe down below. Like I said, 90% of people this month that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you guys do enjoy them, don't forget to hit that button on the way out. It really does help me out and is totally free. If you guys want to help me out even more, you can smash that like button. If you have any questions or suggestions for the build, let me know in the comment section down below. Again, like I said, PC save file in the description if you guys want. Other than that, I live stream on Twitch every night just after I post my YouTube videos. I got a Discord with awesome people in it, and I've got a Twitter, all linked down below. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I shall see you guys next video and a live stream. Till then, adios.